Let me tell you something important. Your value is not decided by your bank balance, your job title, or the opinions of people who don't know your journey. Your importance begins the moment you decide to carry yourself like someone who matters. Jack Ma understood this long before the world ever knew his name. When he was a young man, nothing about his life suggested success. He failed exams, he was rejected from schools, and when he applied for jobs, doors kept closing. Even fast food restaurants told him he wasn't good enough. But here is the part most people miss. His body language never begged, his voice never sounded defeated, and his belief never collapsed. He carried himself like an important person, even when reality tried to convince him otherwise. The world responds to energy before it responds to results. When you walk into a room with insecurity, people feel it. When you speak as if your words don't matter, people treat them that way. But when you carry yourself with calm confidence, when you move with purpose, when you speak with clarity, the world listens, even if you have nothing to show yet. Jack Ma didn't become confident because he was successful. He became successful because he was confident enough to keep standing when everything said he should sit down. Being important is not about arrogance. It's not about pretending you're better than others. True importance is quiet. It's self-belief without noise. Jack Ma never tried to impress people with fancy language or complicated ideas. He spoke simply, honestly, and directly. That simplicity came from knowing who he was. When you know your worth, you don't oversell yourself. You don't rush, you don't panic, you don't chase validation. You prepare, you improve, and you show up again and again. Most people wait for permission to feel important. They wait for a promotion, for praise, for followers, for money. Jack Ma never waited. He respected his ideas before anyone else did. He respected his time before the world valued it. He respected his vision even when people laughed. That self-respect shaped how he stood, how he spoke, and how he made decisions. And slowly, the world adjusted to match his belief. Carrying yourself like an important person means you don't shrink when you fail. Failure doesn't reduce your posture or your voice. It doesn't make you hide. It makes you wiser. Jack Ma failed repeatedly, but each failure sharpened him. He didn't internalize rejection as a judgment of his worth. He treated it as information. Important people understand this difference. They don't confuse a temporary loss with a permanent identity. Watch how successful people sit, listen, and respond. They don't rush to explain themselves. They don't argue with everyone. They don't try to win every conversation. Jack Ma listened more than he spoke. He learned more than he complained. He observed the world instead of blaming it. That is the mindset of someone who knows they matter. Your habits reveal how important you think you are. If you waste your time, you're telling the world your life is cheap. If you neglect your health, you're saying your future doesn't matter. If you quit easily, you're proving to yourself that your dreams aren't valuable. Jack Ma protected his vision like something precious, even when it was fragile. He knew that if he didn't protect it, nobody else would. The truth is, the world doesn't reward potential. It rewards presence. It rewards people who show up with belief, consistency, and patience. Carrying yourself like an important person means you show up even when you feel unready. You speak even when your voice shakes. You keep going even when progress is slow. That persistence sends a signal not just to others, but to yourself, that you are someone worth investing in. Look at how many people disappear when things get hard. Important people don't disappear. They adapt. They learn. They stay visible. Jack Ma stayed visible through failure, through doubt, through years of uncertainty. And because he stayed visible, opportunity eventually found him. Now, let me be very clear with you. If you want the world to treat you like someone important, you must start today, not tomorrow. not when conditions are perfect. Stand straighter, speak with intention, respect your time, respect your ideas. Stop apologizing for dreaming bigger than your current situation. Stop shrinking to fit environments that don't deserve you. This is your moment to decide who you are becoming. Act like your future matters. Act like your dreams are real. Act like your life has value because it does. Starting today, carry yourself like an important person, work like one, think like one, and refuse to live like someone who doesn't believe in themselves. Now take action. If this message moved you, don't let it stop here. Apply it today. Share this speech with someone who needs confidence. Comment with one decision you will make to start carrying yourself differently. Subscribe, follow, and commit to becoming the person your future is waiting for. The world is watching, but more importantly, you are. Respect is not something the world gives you first. Respect is something you practice with yourself long before anyone notices. Jack Ma understood this lesson in the hardest way possible. He was rejected again and again, not because he lacked effort, but because the world could not yet see his value. And still, he never allowed rejection to become his identity. He respected himself when circumstances gave him every excuse not to. Most people let failure embarrass them. They lower their heads, soften their voices, and slowly start believing the lie that they are not good enough. Jack Ma refused to do that. He failed exams, he failed interviews, he failed opportunities, but he never failed to respect his own effort. That self-respect protected his confidence when nothing else could. When you respect yourself, you stop begging for approval. You don't chase people who don't see you. You don't explain your dreams to those committed to misunderstanding you. You understand that not everyone is meant to recognize your value at the same time. Important people know this. They don't panic when they're overlooked. They keep working. Self-respect changes how you speak. You stop filling silence with insecurity. You stop saying yes to things that drain you. You stop apologizing for having standards. Jack Ma spoke calmly even when he had nothing to prove. He didn't try to sound smarter than he was. He didn't hide behind complex language. He trusted that clarity would carry more power than noise. When you respect yourself, you also stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Jack Ma did not compete with people who started ahead of him. He competed with who he was yesterday. That mindset freed him from jealousy and focused his energy on growth. Comparison weakens self-respect. Growth strengthens it. The world tests your self-respect through rejection. Every no asks you a question. Do you still believe in yourself? Every failure pressures you to quit. Jack Ma was tested repeatedly, and each time he answered with persistence. He didn't allow temporary losses to define permanent worth. That distinction is everything. Self-respect also means protecting your time. Important people do not waste hours on distractions that steal their future. Jack Ma valued learning, thinking, and building skills when others were wasting time complaining. If you don't respect your time, you are teaching the world how to treat you. Your daily choices are louder than your words. Respecting yourself doesn't mean you think you're perfect. It means you are honest about your weaknesses without hating yourself for them. Jack Ma admitted he wasn't the smartest, the strongest, or the richest, but he was consistent. He was curious. He was resilient. Self-respect allowed him to improve without shame. People often think confidence comes from success. That's wrong. Confidence comes from integrity, doing what you said you would do, even when it's hard. Jack Ma built confidence by keeping promises to himself. Each small promise kept became proof that he could trust himself. And when you trust yourself, others eventually will too. The way you treat yourself behind closed doors determines how the world treats you in public. If you speak negatively about yourself, you train your mind to accept limits. If you disrespect your own potential, don't be surprised when others do the same. Jack Ma spoke about the future as if it was possible long before it was visible. Self-respect is also about patience. Important people don't rush success. They understand that meaningful things take time. Jack Ma spent years building something nobody believed in. He stayed patient because he believed his effort mattered. Patience is not weakness. It is confidence stretched over time. Now listen carefully. If you want to carry yourself like an important person, it starts today. Respect your goals. Respect your process. Respect your struggle. Stop letting rejection rewrite your identity. Stop waiting for validation to begin believing in yourself. This is your call to action. Decide today that you will no longer speak poorly about yourself. Decide that you will protect your time, sharpen your skills, and honor your effort. Share this message with someone who needs self-belief. Comment with one habit you will change starting today. Follow, subscribe, and commit to becoming someone who respects themselves so deeply that the world eventually has no choice but to follow. Most people live their lives thinking about today, but people who truly matter are thinking 10, 20, even 30 years ahead. Jack Ma was never obsessed with quick wins. He was obsessed with direction. While others were chasing fast money, he was building patience. While others wanted applause, he wanted impact. That long-term thinking is what allowed him to stand calmly while the world rushed past him. When you carry yourself like an important person, you stop making decisions only for comfort. You start making decisions for your future self. You understand that every small choice either moves you forward or keeps you trapped. Jack Ma often said that opportunities belong to those who are prepared. Preparation is invisible to most people, but it defines everything. Important people are willing to look foolish today if it means being strong tomorrow. Short-term thinking creates desperation. Long-term thinking creates stability. Jack Ma never panicked when success didn't come quickly. He trusted the process because he believed in the direction. He didn't quit when progress was slow. He adjusted. He learned. He improved. People who matter understand that consistency over time is more powerful than intensity for a short moment. If you want to think long-term, you must detach from instant validation. Likes, praise, recognition, and applause are addictive, but they are also dangerous. Jack Ma was criticized heavily in the early days. People said his ideas were unrealistic. They said he was dreaming too big. But he wasn't building for their approval. He was building for the future. Important people are not distracted by noise. They are guided by vision. Long-term thinkers invest in skills before they invest in status. Jack Ma invested in communication, understanding people, and learning from failure. He didn't try to look successful. He tried to become useful. Utility creates value. Value creates opportunity. Opportunity creates success. This sequence cannot be rushed. Thinking long-term also changes how you handle failure. Failure becomes a lesson instead of a trauma. Jack Ma failed many times, but each failure added to his understanding. He didn't waste energy feeling embarrassed. He extracted wisdom and moved forward. Important people don't collect scars. They collect lessons. When you think long-term, you stop competing on small things. You stop arguing over ego. You stop chasing comparisons. You focus on building something meaningful. Jack Ma didn't try to beat everyone. He tried to serve those who were ignored. That focus gave him an unfair advantage. While others fought over the spotlight, he built in the shadows. Long-term thinking requires patience, and patience requires belief. If you don't believe your future matters, you will sacrifice it for temporary pleasure. Important people delay gratification. They say no to distractions. They understand that discipline is not punishment, it is protection. Jack Ma protected his vision fiercely because he knew how fragile it was in the early days. Your daily habits reveal how far ahead you are thinking. If you waste hours, you are telling your future you don't care. If you neglect learning, you are limiting tomorrow's options. Jack Ma spent time learning from people smarter than him. He listened, he observed, he adapted. That humility allowed him to grow faster than people who thought they already knew everything. Long-term thinkers are also calm under pressure. They don't react emotionally to every setback. They respond strategically. Jack Ma remained calm when others panicked. He understood that storms pass, but direction remains. That calmness is power. It signals confidence without words. Thinking long-term also means accepting that success has seasons. There will be times of growth and times of struggle. Jack Ma didn't treat struggle as failure. He treated it as training. Important people understand that endurance is a skill, and like any skill, it improves with use. The future rewards those who show up consistently. Not those who talk the most, but those who stay the longest. Jack Ma stayed when many left. He believed that if he didn't give up, he still had a chance. That belief alone kept him moving forward when logic said stop. Now listen carefully. If you want to carry yourself like an important person, start thinking like one. Stop asking what feels good today and start asking what builds your future. Stop chasing shortcuts and start building foundations. Stop reacting emotionally and start responding strategically. This is your moment to choose long-term strength over short-term comfort. Make one decision today that your future self will thank you for. Share this message with someone who needs perspective. Comment with one long-term habit you are committing to. Follow, subscribe, and stay connected to content that builds vision, discipline, and belief. Your future is being shaped right now. Act like it matters. Most people wait for proof before they act. They wait for confidence before they speak. They wait for success before they believe. Jack Ma did the opposite. He acted first, believed first, and spoke as if the future was already possible. He understood something most people never learn. Confidence is not the reward at the end of the journey. It is the fuel that starts the engine. When you carry yourself like an important person, you don't wait for permission. You take responsibility. You don't wait until everything feels safe. You move while uncertainty is still present. Jack Ma stood in front of his first small team and told them they would change the world, even though they had no money, no power, and no recognition. That wasn't arrogance, that was leadership. Leadership begins with belief before results exist. Important people act even when fear is loud. They understand that fear is not a stop sign, it is a signal that growth is near. Jack Ma was afraid many times. He admitted his fears openly, but fear never controlled his decisions. He learned to walk with it. Acting despite fear is what separates leaders from followers. Action builds identity. The more you act with purpose, the more confident you become. Jack Ma didn't wake up one day as a global icon. He became that person step by step by choosing action over hesitation. Every time you take responsibility, you reinforce the belief that you are capable. Important people don't wait to feel ready. They act their way into readiness. Carrying yourself like an important person also means you lead by example. You don't demand respect. You earn it through behavior. Jack Ma worked harder than anyone in the room. He listened to his team. He took responsibility when things went wrong. Accountability is the foundation of authority. People follow those who own their actions. Action requires clarity. Jack Ma didn't act randomly. He acted with direction. He knew what problem he was trying to solve. Important people don't move just to look busy. They move with intention. They understand that progress is not about speed, it is about direction. Many people talk about dreams, but never take the first step. They wait for motivation, but motivation follows action, not the other way around. Jack Ma acted even on days he didn't feel inspired. Discipline carried him when emotions couldn't. That discipline created momentum, and momentum created belief. Acting like an important person also means making decisions when it's uncomfortable. It means having difficult conversations. It means choosing long-term respect over short-term popularity. Jack Ma made decisions that were criticized at the time but proven right later. Important people are willing to be misunderstood for a season. The world does not reward intention. It rewards execution. You can have the best ideas in the room, but without action, they mean nothing. Jack Ma understood that imperfect action beats perfect planning. He adjusted as he moved. He learned by doing. That adaptability kept him ahead. When you act consistently, you send a message to yourself that you are someone who follows through. That self-trust is powerful. Jack Ma built trust with himself long before he built trust with the world. Every promise kept strengthened his confidence. Every risk taken expanded his limits. Action also creates visibility. You cannot be important if you are invisible. Jack Ma put himself out there even when people doubted him. He spoke. He shared his vision. He showed up. Important people don't hide behind fear of judgment. They understand that criticism is the price of visibility. Carrying yourself like an important person means you don't wait for the perfect moment. You understand that the perfect moment never comes. Jack Ma started with what he had, where he was, with who believed. That was enough. Action multiplies resources. Waiting drains them. Now listen closely. If you want to change how the world sees you, you must change how you act today. Stop waiting. Stop hesitating. Stop underestimating yourself. Take one bold action in the direction of your goals today. Speak up, show up, start now. This is your call to action. Decide that you will no longer live on potential alone. Choose action over fear. Share this speech with someone who needs courage. Comment with one action you will take within the next 24 hours. Subscribe, follow, and stay committed to growth, leadership, and execution. The future belongs to those who move first. Be one of them.